Right, you'll have to excuse me, I'm feeling a bit under the weather, so I hope I'm coming across okay. Right, let's go with the final one. Okay. Hi, I'm Jez, and welcome to the fourth lesson in this series on how to build your own text adventure game in Python. Let me share my screen and let us recap where we currently are. So if you've been following the previous classes, you will have a program that generates a random location, gives the user the choice of left or right. Depending on that choice, whether they go down the safe path or unsafe path, it'll dictate what happens to them next. If they go down the safe path, they get sent to the next location without any problems at all. If they go down the unsafe path, they get to meet a random opponent, and we covered how we battle that opponent in our previous lesson. After every battle, if we're successful, we get awarded with a few gold coins, and it's these gold coins that I want to take a look at in this lesson. I'd like us to build a basic shop, a shop that allows us to spend our hard-earned money and allow us to buy things that will give us an advantage when we come to battle opponents later on in the game. So let's get started. The shop can appear anywhere in the game, okay? We're using various if statements and other forms of logic. We can actually just trigger the shop when we're, say, in the street or in the town. But for the purpose of this example, the shop is going to be available to us at all the locations. If you scroll down and find the option where we ask the user to make the decision to go left or right, we're going to add an additional option. So print or select S for the shop. Okay. So not only do they get the option to go left or right, they also get the option to select S for the shop. Okay. So before any randomization of determining whether it's safe or unsafe, the route they've taken, this is where we're going to insert our shop. This is where we're going to go shopping. Okay, and it's done using yet another if. So if our choice variable equals, because if you remember, 2 equals together basically translates to is equal to. Okay, so if the choice variable is equal to S, that implies that the user has selected that they want to go to the shop. What we'll do, we'll print, actually, let's print another line spacing to help break it up. Okay, we're going to print, you have entered the shop. Okay, and what I like to do now is basically, just like we did with our character selection at the start of the game, as you can see here, 1, 2, or 3 for knight, wizard, or robot, we're going to present a similar menu, but for things that the person can buy. Okay, so let's just do quickly print one, what could we say, a knife. Okay, oops, excuse me, let's get it correct. There we go. Print option 2 for a sword. Okay, and we're going to print. We'll go for 3. Buy 3 things available in the shop. 3. We'll go with a shield. Okay, we'll go with a shield. So these are the 3 things that we can buy. And using our knowledge of randomization, maybe you could bring in a 4th random item every time you visit the shop, if you were up for a challenge. But for the time being, we are just going to print or present the user with 3 options, okay? And we're going to create a variable called shop choice, where we're going to save what they want to save the option that they've selected. So we're going to use input, okay? And we're going to say make your selection. Oops, sorry, my spelling is a bit off today. Make your selection. Okay, So whatever the user enters, 1, 2, or 3, it gets stored in there. Okay. Actually, we'll say 1, 2, or 3. So the user knows that they're to enter the numbers. 1, 2, or 3, make your selection. What's the very first thing that needs to happen? If you walk in any shop in real life and you go to the counter, you say, yep, I want to buy this adventure, but please, okay? The first thing that needs to happen is to check that we've got enough money, that we're not chancing our luck. So that's what we need to do in our game. We need to make sure that we've got enough money to buy this, okay? So if shop choice equals 1. So if the user has selected 1 to buy the knife, well, it would be nice to know how much the knife costs actually. So I'm going to say 10 coins for the knife. I completely forgot about this, sorry. 20 coins for the sword and 30 coins for the shield. So now we know how much things cost. Right, let's do a check. So the shop choice, the user has entered 1, so they want to buy the knife. Let's see if they've got enough money. And we do that by saying if money is greater than 9, okay, so if it's 10 or above, we can print you have purchased the knife, okay, and then we update money equals money minus 10. So we take the 10 away, don't we? Because they've spent it on the knife. Okay, else. Okay, so the else, excuse me, basically means that if they don't have enough money, if their money is below 10, 9 or below, then we don't let them buy the knife at all. We can just say you don't have enough money for that. Okay, and we basically repeat this 3 times. Why 3 times? Well, why do we need to have 3 ifs? It's because we've got 3 products. So every product, every item that you have in the shop for sale, it needs its own separate if. Okay, and notice how I'm indenting. So all these mini ifs fall under this. Hang on a second, forgot to copy that. Okay, so all these mini ifs fall under this big if of the shop selection. Okay, notice how I'm structuring. So if the user selects 1, then it actions this code, and if the user selects option 2, then we action this code below. Okay, so the sword is 20. So anything 20 or above, we allow them to purchase the sword. Okay, and the sword costs 20, so we're going to minus 20 coins off our current money. Okay, I'm going to repeat that for a final time. Okay, if shop choice is 3. Okay, so the shield is 30, so we check to see if they've got 30 gold coins or above in their pocket. You've purchased the shield. Okay, and then once we've bought it, we minus 30 off. Okay, so let's run it. I start the game off, okay, with, let's see. So I'm in the village, my health is 100, I've got no money. Make your decision. Why isn't it showing the shop? Let's see. Why isn't it showing the option for the shop? Because I've put the print in the wrong place. Okay, so bear with. Okay, so let's try that again. So still no money, still broke, but this time, can you see, I can either take left or right or select S for the shop. So let's go for the shop. Okay, and here we go. You have entered the shop. Knife 10, sword 20, or shield 30. 1, 2, or 3, make your selections. I'm going to select the knife, although I've got no money. Let's see what happens. Okay, your money is 0. Okay, you don't have enough money for that. We might need to break up those sentences a bit to make it easy to read. My money is still 0. It's basically kicked us out the shop and we continue on our way. Okay, so probably after the end of, after all these ifs, we can just print just an extra line spacing to break things up. Okay, let's do that and put one there. And we will put one there like so. Okay, so let's just tweak the game. So I'm going to start the game with 100 gold coins. Okay, it's not cheating as such, it's just testing. So when I run it now, run the module. Okay, I'm going to start as a knight, going to enter the shop, and now I can buy my knife. So I'm going to select 1. Okay, you have purchased the knife, and then you can write a sentence or two to say that, to indicate you continue on your way. We've chosen the the unsafe path, so we're fighting an elf now. Okay, so we keep fighting, and we won. Okay, that was sheer luck that we won. The fact that we had a knife didn't affect the battle at all. Okay, so let's look how the weapons that we buy influence or greatly increase our chances of winning the battle. And it's really simple to do. Okay, it's all based around a single variable, a variable that allows us to keep track of the advantage that we get from our additional weapons that we purchase. And that's what I'm going to call my variable, advantage. Okay, and I'm going to start my advantage off with 0. Okay, so we start the game with no advantage at all. I'm going to stick to 100, just so we can test it properly later on. Okay, so advantage at the minute is 0. If we scroll down to the fighting mechanic, to the part where we fight, you can see here that the player rolls and the enemy rolls their dice, and then things are worked out as per the last lesson we had together. Okay, let's take the player's number that we've rolled, anything between 1 and 20, and let's add the advantage. Okay, so you roll your number plus any advantage from any additional weaponry that we have. Okay, again, that's greatly increasing our chance of winning that round, which is awesome. Okay, but before we do, we need to code it so that when we do purchase the weapons, it does add that advantage on. So when you've confirmed to the player that you've purchased a weapon, in this case a knife, we deduct the money because they've bought it, but we also update the advantage. Advantage equals advantage, the current advantage plus, let's go with, we don't want to make it too great, probably a 2 for a knife. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll add it here for a sword, we'll add 5 for a sword, and maybe we'll add a shield as well, and the shield can be 7. There is a danger of giving allowing the player to have too much of an advantage. If that was the case, if I did like a knife was 10, a sword was 20, and a shield was 30, when we play the game, chances are we're going to win every time. And that's great for the first couple of fights, but it's going to get boring after a while. You want to find that midpoint where it's not too challenging. The game's not impossible, but it's still challenging. But you don't want to make the game too easy either. So this will only come out through your testing. By testing it and playing every different scenario over and over again, you get a feel for how these numbers influence the game. So you might want to tweak them ever so slightly, maybe not give the player such a huge advantage as you would like, you initially thought, and just start tweaking tweaking the values and seeing how that affects the gameplay. It's really interesting once you have all these variables controlling different aspects of the game, looking at how these little subtle changes can really affect how a how the player navigates through the game. Enough of my ramblings. Let's run and see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to play as a knight. I start with 100 money because I gave myself 100 gold coins. I'm going to go to the shop, okay, and I'm going to buy a shield. Okay, so it says you have purchased the shield. Okay, we continue on our way. As soon as we step out the shop, it looks like we've taken the unsafe path, and we're going to fight an old goblin. Okay, so press enter to fight. We keep fighting. Okay, notice that it was fewer rounds, I think, this time. It's like a round less than what we're usually experienced. So that tells me that, you know, we've been winning more rounds at a quicker rate, mainly because we got the shield and that bigger advantage. The battle is over. You have survived the fight and continue on your way. You have been awarded 10 gold coins. So now I've moved on to the village. My current health is 69, but I've got 80 now. I previously had 70 because I spent 30 on the shield, and now I've been awarded 10. So we know this basic framework is working. And once you're at this stage, it gets really exciting. You can basically tailor the game however you want it. You have a shop mechanic, you have a battle scenario, and you have a way to generate random locations. We also control things using variables, as I previously mentioned, so you can tweak things and start playing around with those figures to see how it affects the game, trying to find that nice balance between an impossible to play game and a really easy and boring experience as well. So you can really run, once you're at this stage, you can really run with it, adding in more variables to factor into the fight scenarios, such as attack or defense. But I would, if you are looking as a way to progress from this stage, I would recommend you take your time thinking about what theme you want your game to be, because that will dictate what locations you choose in the game. Remember, the more locations you add to this list, the more random it's going to be. Once you know your theme and you've selected your appropriate locations, you can then go on to start fleshing out the text, developing a bit of a story behind it, and making the prompts that you present to the player more meaningful and enjoyable, rather than just the odd sentence like I've been doing, saying you move on to the next location. Okay, start fleshing it out, developing that story, and getting more and more creative as you go along. Remember to keep everything nicely organized. Remember those indents, because as you can see, our program is growing and growing and growing. And by indenting and keeping everything nice and neat and in their designated sections, it will help you navigate your code a great deal easier, and you'll be able to find the sections that you want to target and amend or add to really easily. I'd love to see what you come up with. Have a go, get to this point, make sure it works, and then really run with the creativity. And good luck in your adventure, and take care. Bye-bye.